So you win again, hot chocolate on BBC Radio Sheffield. Stand by your radio. A little hand might poke out through it during the course of our next conversation. I've been joined in the studio by 11-month-old Amy Harris, who is sitting at the yellow microphone in my studio. We'll put some pictures of her up during the course of the morning, and she's very welcome. She can do whatever she wants. She's brought her mum and dad into the studio, Phil and Kirsty, and they're here too. And we're going to hear Amy's story from Staveley, near Chesterfield. Born last June, everything seemed okay, and then her parents noticed something about Amy's eyes, and the story of that is what we're here now. Phil, Kirsty and Amy, thank you for coming in. Is Amy going to speak this morning, Kirsty, do you think?
Quite possibly.
What can she say?
Vocal. Mama, Dada. She's got about 12 words now.
And she's only
11 months. This week she was 11 months.
What did she say on Christmas Day?
She said Mama. Just as all the electric went out. Which cheered us up.
Well, I'm very glad she's come into the studio this morning, and she looks wonderful. Phil, can you tell us the story? What happened when she was born?
Well, basically, Amy was born 2 weeks early. We had to have a caesarean section, and we noticed when they got onto the ward that something wasn't quite right with her eye. We did mention to the healthcare professionals that we felt that something wasn't quite right, but they checked it and said, no, there's not a problem, and we went home, sent home, health visitor came, said there's still not a problem. And then 3 weeks later she got conjunctivitis, and we went to the doctors and they did what they call a red reflex test on her eye, and it was discovered that she'd got a very dense cataract on her eye, and also her eye looked noticeably smaller than her other eye. We referred to Chesterfield Eye Clinic, and at that point they referred us immediately to Sheffield Children's Hospital. We got there and she was diagnosed with macrophthalmia.
What did you know about that condition, Kirsty?
We knew nothing of it, did we? We'd never heard of it.
I'm going to have to actually pull the mic up because Amy's pulled the mic right down. Sabotage. She's sitting. Can we just tilt it a tad further round? This is radio. No, here we go. We'll try again. So what? What did you think at that? I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at the situation. Kirsty, what did you think at that moment when you got this diagnosis, and what did you know of the condition?
It was the shock of her being blind. We thought it'd be a routine hospital appointment. My husband didn't go. We thought it was going to be that routine. So I went on my own, and there was a lot of nurses and staff around. You don't expect it.
What did they say to you?
They sort of tried to prepare me for it. I could hear it, and I was thinking, this isn't good. A few more nurses came in. Someone took the baby off me, and I was like, right, what's happening? And then they told me about the condition and the ultrasound her eye, and they said there was nothing behind her eye. It was so underdeveloped. She has no sight in that eye.
What did you do? Rang him, I suppose.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I rang you straight away, and he got there within probably minutes. It seemed like hours, but he got there and he came to us, and they was excellent at Chesterfield Hospital, to be honest, looking after me and Amy with me being on my own. So, but yeah, it was just a big shock.
What
He tried to take it in.
Well, what they said is that the cataract was that dense that at the moment she was blind in that eye, and they said what we'd have to do is try and operate within the first sort of 6 weeks. If she was to have any chance of any light perception, they didn't think they was going to get anything else but perhaps light perception. So Sheffield Hospital, they actually operated on her, and as a result of that they removed a very dense cataract. It was a 2.5 hour operation, and it was one of the densest cataracts they'd come across at that point, and as a result it also removes flakes of her iris as well during the operation. And then 3 weeks later she had another operation to actually examine the back of the eye, because then they could see the back of the eye once the cataract was removed. As a result of that, they did brain tests, and it was confirmed then that she would have no sight at all through her right eye. Yeah.
Is the other eye okay?
The other eye, luckily enough, is perfect. And the condition, because the condition affects between 80 and 90 children in the UK every year, which is a very small amount. It's over 1 in 10,000, and there's no explanation as to what causes it. There's no cure, obviously. There's nothing else that they can do, but we have to then cope with it. But there's also a similar condition called anophthalmia, and that's children that are born with no eyes.
We're going to come
all.
back to all that, I think, in part two. I think I'd like an update from Kirsty about, and indeed from Amy, about what's going on in my studio this morning. What's happening there?
She's currently eating your microphone.
Is she? She's eating this red stuff at the end of that one, isn't she? Just tell me, how heavy is she now?
She is over 18 pounds now.
What can she do?
What can't she do? She's currently crawling and talking.
She's only 11 months.
Yeah, she's 11 months. Yeah, she stands up on all the furniture now. Which
does she?
And she falls off all of the furniture as well.
I mean, this is pretty advanced stuff, isn't it? From what I remember of the arithmetic of growing up, she's
doing really well. Nothing's holding her back. Really,
yeah.
It's not.
Tell her
affected her
if she wants to speak, Kirsty, she can speak on. Oh, there goes the mic. Here's some music. It's 10cc with the things we do for love at 19 minutes past 10 on BBC Radio Shuffle. I'm in the studios with Amy Harris, and that's very lovely, with Kirsty and Phil, mum and dad as well, and we're talking about what happened to Amy, well, what Amy turned out to be suffering from when she was born, or shortly after she was born. She had some a cataract operation, which removed the cataract, but the kind of outcome, Phil, was that effectively there's no sight in that eye. Is that
There's
right?
no sight in that eye, but also as well, I mean, the condition is microphthalmia actually stands for small eye. So her eye is probably about 50% smaller. 40 to 50% smaller than her other eye. And as a result, obviously the soft tissue and bone structure around the eye won't grow as it would in a normal child.
So it'll remain a small eye?
It will remain small eye, it won't grow at all.
And if it remained at that size, then that would be a big disfigurement, wouldn't it?
It would indeed, and hence, this afternoon actually, we're back at the hospital.
I'm going to ask you about that in a tick.
No
Will you
problems.
just go, because I can't even dare to pronounce these words. You obviously knew a great deal about these conditions long before Amy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I did a lot of research on the internet, and we had I found a charity called MAX, which is the Micro and Anophthalmic Society, Children's Society. See, even I'm having problems pronouncing it as well. And basically, they provide us with lots and lots of information, lots of support. Gave us an insight into what Amy's future may be.
Meeting all the other families with the same, who are going through the same thing. It's priceless, isn't it?
That's been helpful?
Oh, really helpful. It's like getting a glimpse into Amy's future, really, and our future, isn't it, of what as parents.
And what do you sense that future might well be, Kirsty, then?
We feel a lot more positive after the weekend, didn't we? We had a charity weekend with them this weekend, and we met lots and lots of other families, and some are not as fortunate as Amy with the sight.
You felt positive in the sense that...
Yeah, we're not exactly looking forward to it. It's a long process. It's going to be a struggle, but we're seeing how happy the other children are who have already been through it and are still going through it. So it's positive to see the smiles, isn't it? And they're so happy, aren't they?
And Phil said that nobody knows what causes it. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, it could be genetic. It could be environmental, but we know there was no environmental issues while we were pregnant, before we was getting pregnant. So we're thinking it's a 1 in 10,000 chance it could happen.
This afternoon, what happens, Kirsty?
We take you to get measured up, don't we? We're going to see a nice doctor.
And measured up for what?
For her prosthetic shell. So that will help the socket grow, her eye socket grow. It won't help the eye grow. That's as big as it gets. But
It's a socket with what kind of goes over the eye, or
it's a shell that goes over the eye. Yeah, we'll put that in every morning and take it out on an evening. And it will help her eye socket grow, which will make her face look a little bit more symmetrical. Because obviously at the minute her eye's very small on one side.
And will she go on kind of getting that prosthetic altered in size as she grows bigger?
Yeah, as she gets older, it may be every couple of months, it may be every 4 or 5 months, but it'll need to grow with her eye socket grows. Because at the minute her socket won't grow because her eye's not growing.
Yeah. And what does happen then? Does the eye socket stop growing in your teens or something, or does it go on altering forever? Or?
It's up to teens, yeah. I think when she gets late teens, that'll be the last sized shell she has. That's my understanding of it.
You know, you say you went to this Blackpool meeting, you're a lot more positive. What were you unpositive about for her before that?
We just worried about the process of it, the upsetting her every morning, every evening, and meeting the other parents, and they say it gets easier. Believe me, it gets easier. We've done it at the right time.
Listen to that child, 11 months. Mama, mama, mama. Can you do this though? I'll do this for her.
He likes that.
Isn't she lovely? She's nearly smiling at us. Yeah, she is. So, bless you two for coming in. There'll be some other people who'll either know of the condition or will know people who know people. So, Phil, why are you on the radio today with your beautiful child, and what do you intend to come out of this conversation?
I think really want to raise the awareness of the actual conditions that affect a small minority of children, and also as well because there's some families out there that their child may have this condition and they may not be aware of the Max charity, and the Max charity is able to provide financial support, emotional support, and provide things like get-togethers with other families so you can see what the future holds. And because one of my biggest fears was the bullying. When it goes to school, perhaps not primary but secondary school. So that was a big fear.
Did you get some reassurance about that?
We did indeed. We met a young lady who was a Paralympian, Amy Ottawa, who's the ambassador for Max, and she was absolutely fantastic. And she gave us really hope and inspiration of what can be achieved. And she's got micro in both eyes, whereas Amy's only got one, so she's fully blind. And the inspirational talk she gave was absolutely amazing.
You're raising money for charities and things as well?
We are indeed, yes. For the Max charity so far, I'd like to make a thank you really to staff and students at Doncaster College. We've raised about £1,500 for the Max charity, and also as well I've got a couple of colleagues that are Masons, and they've donated over £4,000 as well to the Max charity, which will help to buy some specialist equipment for families coping with these types of conditions. We've
got the contact numbers if anyone wants to get in touch with us about all that. We're on 01142796699. Thank you ever so much for coming in, you three, this morning. It's been absolutely lovely. You want to describe what's going on now, Kirsty, with your naughty girl? What's she doing now?
She's currently eating your microphone.
She's pinched the bit that says radio show. How many teeth has she got? Look at all those teeth.
She's got 8 teeth now.
Oh, we love her. Okay, leave her here for a bit.
Okay.
I hope this afternoon goes great. And it's been lovely to meet. Thank you ever so much. It's BBC Radio, BBC Radio Sheffield and Company of Phil and Kirsty and Amy. And happy birthday when it comes.